Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for Transaction Center 101. Today I'll be showing you how to enter your time into timesheets, which is here on the navigation tree under Transaction Center. Go ahead and click on Transaction Entry and you'll be brought to the screen where you can choose your name out of this alphabetical list. Once you're in the timesheets, make sure it says your name here at the top. You can either type your date in or you can choose the date picker by expanding the little calendar icon. And then go ahead and either start typing in your job number or you can look it up by using this little zoom window here. However, it is very time consuming to do it that way. So if you know the first 5 digits of the job you're looking for or the whole job number, go ahead and type it in. If you don't know the whole job number, go ahead and type in the first 5 digits, hit enter, and you'll see that it brings you up with all of the contracts for this particular project. Client number, the first 5 digits are client number, the next 3 digits are the site number, and the last 2 digits are the contract number. I'm going to go ahead and choose this one, and then the task, you can again use the zoom window or you can type directly in here. I'm going to go ahead and choose control, and the subtask will be left blank when you're charging to a project. Under labor code, this is where you are going to enter your union category. So if you're working on a project, you always want to choose prevailing wage. And again, you can type this in, and then you would find your union category here. Carlos is an LSP, land surveyor professional, or party chief. He usually works as a 2-man crew. If you're working as a 1-man or a 3-man, go ahead and change it here. And let's go ahead and put in 8 hours. And we don't need to overtime or double time right now, but I'll go ahead and show you that later. Under the comment, you type in exactly what you did. You want this field to match your ticket verbatim. If it doesn't match, the clients might wonder why we have different information on your ticket versus your timesheet, because the client will see it. I'm going to go ahead and show you next how to enter overtime. Let's say, for instance, Carlos worked an hour overtime on this day. I would go ahead and copy that line, but be very careful because as you can see, it put in another 8 hours for the same day. When you do this, go ahead and delete out that 8 hours. Over here in your overtime column, let's put 1 hour overtime. But if there is an extra note as to why you worked overtime, you need to put it here. So let's see, control, and let's say superintendent requested OT. If you could put more information, that would be helpful. Let's go ahead and put in an hour of travel time too, just so you know what that looks like. I went ahead and copied that last line again for travel time. However, it needs to be under a travel labor code. So let's put in PWLLST for travel, and that will show up as travel time. Now you can also zoom window to pick out your code. If, for instance, it wasn't so easy, it wasn't LST and you were an apprentice, you would have to pick out of these codes here. And as you can see, there are many codes to choose from, so be careful when you're choosing these codes, and if you have questions, feel free to call the office. At this point, Carlos would open up his Chainman's timesheet and enter all of the same information there, except he's not a 2-man survey crew. He would be a crew member, and I'll show you that over on Chris Becker's timesheet. Let's go ahead and go on over there. You can always open your Chainman's timesheet in a new window by right-clicking and saying open in new window if you want to leave your timesheet open. That way you have it to refer to. And let's click on Chris Becker. And I'm going to go ahead and make these windows so I can see them side by side and enter that information. So on June 19th, we're going to enter all of the same information. I'm not going to go line for line. I'm just going to show you one line right now so you know what Chris's labor codes would look like. Yeah, as you can see, I just typed that information in there. I'm going to go ahead and put in as prevailing wage. So I'm going to put in apprentice F. And then he's always a crew member. It defaults to that. However, be careful because sometimes another code gets selected and you could accidentally have something else in there. The other difference between Chris's timesheet and Carlos's timesheet is that all he needs to do is type in the initials of the person he worked with so that we can refer back to Carlos's timesheet if we have a problem. And then you continue on copying all of these hours that he worked with his chief onto the Chainman's timesheet. Be careful about the labor codes and the labor category. They need to reflect that this is a crew member and not a two-man crew or anything else. So let's go ahead and close this. I'm going to go back to Carlos's timesheet. I want to show you how to enter holiday time, vacation time, overhead time, and sick time. First, I'll show you how to put in vacation time. So let's go ahead and put in another day under the 20th. You would type in vacay, and then under task, you leave it under Irvine, and subtask, type in SUR for survey. And then everything else, his labor code, the labor category doesn't matter because we're not putting in hours here. But under the notes, you would want to put vacation. And as you will see in the next line, everything else is pretty similar when you're not entering hours. If you're just taking a day off for either vacation, holiday, everything kind of is the same except for the project number. Let's put in the next day and say it was a holiday. You would just type in HOLID, and there you go. Irvine is the same, survey is the same, and under your note, you would put in holiday. Now I'll show you how to put in overhead time for admin. Let's go ahead and do that on the 22nd. Let's say Carlos had a day off because we had no work for him that day. You type in admin under the project, Irvine, survey, PWLSP again. This time, under notes category, you say off, no work. No work. And lastly, I would like to show you how to enter sick time.
You'll notice the difference with sick time is that you change your labor code to a general labor code versus prevailing wage. And I'll show you that. But first I'll change this date to the 23rd.
For sick pay, we're going to type in sick, Irvine, survey again. However, under labor code, this is the one time it is different. You're not getting prevailing wage because you didn't work. However, we are paying you. So it's going to be non-prevailing wage. And then your code at the end here remains the same. You would put in your 8 hours. And here you would type sick.
Okay, there was one last thing that I would like to show you before we end our training session, and that is how to close your timesheet properly. Never use this red X close window button to close your timesheet. Otherwise, the entries that you have not saved will be all lost and you'll have to re-enter them. Before you close, you always want to click Save, or if you simply exit out by clicking into the transaction entry window here, it will save your entries for you. But again, never click this X button to close because it will lose your entries as well as locking your timesheet. So if you do happen to lock your timesheet, please either email or call the office and speak with Jennifer or Victor, and we can unlock it for you. This concludes our tutorial on how to enter survey time into the Transaction Center. I hope this information was helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call.